Welcome back. The story is about a woman who doesn't age and must hide her secret for decades.
Ma'am, it says here you were born 1908. That would make you 45 years old?
That's right.
The story begins in modern times with the main character, Adaline Bowman, who is now known as Jennifer Larson. In order to alter her identity and age once more, she goes to see a forger who specializes in creating fictitious documents on the eve of the new year. She doesn't appear older than 27, so the forger wonders why she wants to be 29. He doesn't ask any pointless questions, though. Our heroine replies by giving him her gratitude, giving him his money, and telling him to stop his illicit actions right now before she departs.
Don't get sloppy. It's the little things that trip you up.
After this meeting, Adaline returns home. The girl is lonely, and all her free time is devoted to her beloved dog. The sketch of a young guy on the wall and the ancient wedding picture of the bride, who resembles our heroine, on the bedside table are only two examples of the numerous antiques in her flat. She quickly gets at work after feeding her pet. She exits the building, hails a cab, and gives the driver advice on how to avoid gridlock. Adaline's extensive knowledge of her city is evident from this exchange. She is taken by cab to her workplace at the Central Library. Organizing the city's archive video is what Adaline is doing here. She discovers, while going through this procedure, a 1906 movie that captures every significant city event of that year. She decides to watch it and begins to remember her previous life. Our heroine was born on January 1st, 1908, in an ordinary maternity hospital in San Francisco. She met her future spouse when she went to observe the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge with her mother when she turned 21. The pair wed 87 days later, and 3 years later, they welcomed a daughter into their family. A terrible catastrophe occurred in 1937 at the building site, killing 10 workers, including Adaline's husband. 10 months later, on a rural road on her way to her parents' house, she experienced an amazing, almost mystical event. In California, it snowed. Adaline lost control and quickly swerved off the road due to low visibility. In the cold water, Adaline's body experienced hypoxic shock. Her heart stopped beating, and her breathing ceased. A few minutes later, lightning struck the car, producing a triple effect on her body. In the beginning, the shock served as her heart's defibrillator. It also helped her to breathe again and emerged from her panic attack. Thirdly, time itself became insensitive to Adaline Bowman's body, as per an as yet undiscovered law. She wouldn't get older by a single day after that. It was years later. Our heroine first claimed that a balanced diet, regular exercise, and good genes were the main contributors to her attractive look. Then law-abiding Adaline unintentionally breached a traffic rule, which exacerbated matters. She was instructed to bring her birth certificate to the station and have her driver's license seized by an inspector. After this incident, Adaline moved to the city center and got a job as a secretary at a medical school. Here, she tried to find a scientific explanation for her unusual condition. After a year of continuous search, she accepted the fact of her uniqueness and stopped her research. One evening, FBI agents stopped her and forcibly placed her in a police car. They would like to do some testing on her. Adaline was left alone in the car when the plane arrived. Unnoticed, she escaped via the trunk. She had to go out of town to keep her kid and herself safe. She made the decision to relocate, change her name, identity, and look every 10 years, as well as to never, ever divulge her secret to anybody. For the following 60 years, Adaline followed through on her plan with success. The film's action takes place in the present day. Our heroine will celebrate her 107th birthday and the start of a new year in a few hours. Due to her situation, Adaline rarely makes new acquaintances. Currently, she only has one blind friend with whom she agreed to spend this festive evening.
Oh, you just want to come out with me tonight, don't you? Sorry, buddy, it's a girls' night.
In the restaurant lobby, Adaline notices photos from past years. She has been here before. She walks inside the hall and cheers on her friend's performance despite her nostalgic feelings. At a different table, the women exchange their hopes for the next year. A young man approaches them to get to know the gorgeous Adaline at that very time. Having known our heroine for a while, her companion is taken aback by this. She is around 50 years old, therefore Adaline ought to be about the same age. Adaline attracts the attention of the unidentified young man at the restaurant. They immediately like each other, but Adaline cannot afford new romantic relationships. She's going to have to relocate again in 10 years. But this cycle is almost over. She chooses to depart the celebration after becoming even more agitated. Possibly marking their final encounter, she bids her pal farewell with a kiss. The kind stranger sits down with Adaline in the elevator. While accompanying her out, he makes a fruitless attempt to set up a second encounter. The man arrives at the street and goes up to a cab to listen in on the address Adaline would give the driver. Adaline, nevertheless, begs the driver to just go on as she anticipates this scenario. The next day, our heroine meets her aging daughter at a cafe.
Happy birthday, Mama. Thank you, darling.
At the table, the relatives discuss plans for the future. The daughter is already over 80, and she may soon need constant care. Realizing this, Adaline bought a country house on purpose. She intends to stay there with her child for the ensuing 10 years. But her daughter doesn't want to bother her inexperienced mother. She says her mother is welcome to visit her anytime she pleases, and that she has already selected a lovely retirement home where she will feel at ease. Adaline finds out later on the job from a coworker that a local donor has chosen to give their library a sizable donation of rare books. Ellis Jones, the obstinate man from the New Year's celebration, turns out to be the donor. Ellis says he is willing to donate his books to the library on the condition that Adaline goes on a date with him. Adaline has no choice but to agree to this offer. The man explains Adaline about himself and his profession as they stroll through the city's catacombs in the next scene. She abruptly changes the topic and tells Ellis it's time for her to go when he asks her to tell anything about herself. Adaline informs the guy she's moving on the street. Ellis offers to place a little wager in response. He will now give Adaline his finest joke, and if she finds it funny, they will go on another date. However, he will give up on her and leave her alone if he doesn't.
He picks up a bat with his teeth. Goom! Goom! Yes! The lady has been conquered!
So they both agree to have dinner together at Ellis's home. Adaline keeps her promise and arrives at his place in the evening. The duo seemed content with their meeting. The evening goes smoothly overall, with Ellis managing to generate a warm mood. The pair is unable to control their emotions later while they are relaxing on the couch. After sharing a kiss, they decide to stay together overnight. Adaline feels really joyful for the first time in a long time. She starts her workday after making breakfast. The cab pulls into a well-known spot en route. An old man was planning to pop the question to her in this very park. All she did was drive by, though after seeing the ring, Adaline feels depressed again by this memories. Just before their relationship gets out of control, she makes the decision to end it with Ellis. From that day on, Adaline stops answering the guy's calls and doesn't show up at work.
Jenny!
This isn't going to work. I'm moving.
Later, our heroine helps her daughter prepare for moving to a retirement community. Adaline expresses her sincere desire to stop running away and tricking kind people during an emotional chat they had while getting ready. Her ultimate goal is to mature with her significant other, just like the rest of us. Everything her daughter wants for her mother is nice. Try to open up to her loved one and stop fleeing, she asks. It's after all too late for anyone to know anything about her. Adaline chooses to ask Ellis out on a date following their talk. After she takes him somewhere out of the ordinary, the pair makes up in a very romantic setting. On the weekend, they go together to the suburbs to visit Ellis's parents and congratulate them on their 40th wedding anniversary. On the way, they also pick up Ellis's sister and arrive at the parental home together.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, Mom!
It's so nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Adeline.
Jenny, actually.
Upon seeing them, the father freezes in place, then approaches our heroine and says that she looks very much like his long-lost good acquaintance, Adaline Bowman. The girl needs to pretend that this isn't her mom. The youngster responds that her mother has already died away when asked how she is doing right now. The dad is upset by this news. Adaline was an amazing lady, he told his family. Ellis argues in favor of the discussion, claiming that the daughter got this from her. After that, everyone heads to their own rooms. By himself, the father starts thinking back on his previous existence, the time he spent getting to know Adaline. In the late 1960s, it took place. The girl spent the following 5 weeks with the young man after he helped her start her automobile. Later, in a conversation with the girl, William confesses that he loved her mother very much and even planned to propose to her. However, she just vanished on that particular occasion and failed to arrive.
William, she loved you too.
William discovers a well-known scar on the girl's arm the next day as they get ready for a festive supper. Adaline owned identical one. While strolling through the woodland together, she sustained an injury. Next, the girl's hand is bandaged in an old joint photo that the father finds. It dawns on William that this is no coincidence. After gaining the girl's attention, he begs her to tell him everything. For the first time in a long time, Adaline is completely honest. She clarifies that because doing so would have required them to experiment on her, she was unable to tell anybody her secret. So many years ago, when she saw the ring, she had to leave.
I can't imagine how much it hurt.
You think I can?
William asks her not to run away anymore and not to break his son's heart, but the girl doesn't listen to him. She quickly begins packing her belongings as soon as she gets inside the home and quickly leaves without telling Ellis anything. When he wakes up, he discovers a farewell message. In an attempt to learn more about his father, William withholds Adaline's secret from him. He only clarifies that the girl was unable to behave otherwise. Ellis said he simply cannot fathom his life without her. After hearing this, the father hands his son the vehicle keys and, at last, he leaves in pursuit of his love. The girl thinks back on all of her previous escapes while traveling. She considers her options carefully and decides to go back. At the moment of turning, a truck crashes into her car. The girl flies off the road, and the truck driver flees the scene. It's snowing in California today, exactly 78 years ago. Adaline Bowman has a 30 degrees body temperature decrease. Her heart stops beating and she quits breathing. The girl appeared to be dead. Paramedics show up at the accident scene a few minutes later. Adaline is revived after 750 volts of electricity are delivered to her body. Ellis is informed of everything by the girl in the hospital. A terrified daughter soon makes an appearance in the ward as well.
What happened? I'm fine, okay? But hey, he knows.
A year has elapsed. Living together, Ellis and Adaline began. Asking the daughter to look after the dog today is because they are going to a New Year's Eve celebration. Adaline, unable to contain her emotions, approaches the mirror and finds her first gray hair.
Adaline, you okay?
Perfect.
And so ends this incredible story. Leave your opinion about the movie below in the comments. Hit subscribe and the bell for more awesome videos. See you in the next one.